Welcome back to my humble little YouTube channel coming from my small little town, United States. Thank you to all of the fine folks to subscribe to my channel. Whether or not you're watching or not, that's another question, but that's neither here nor there. The subscriber number went up, and that gives me a little dopamine rush. I appreciate that. I love you. That said, I want to talk about something a little on the serious side today. Something that I think affects all of us, whether directly or indirectly, whether we deal with it personally or interpersonally with family, and that's addiction creep, or just addiction in general, and kind of some of the lies that we tell ourselves that allow us to justify the addictions that we have. So starting off, I think it's important to outline that I was a weed smoker. I did a little of the toking, the little puff puff. I did a little bit of that from the age of 14, and I did that about on the weekends, kept it to the weekends, kind of quit here and there, became an everyday dope head my junior year in high school, and that carried over for about 6 years until I finally broke that cycle about 3 years ago. But what's important about that is that my habitual marijuana use set the precedent for further issues down the line. So for me, smoking weed was always a weekend activity, getting together with the friends, smoking, partying, going out in the woods and making sure mom and dad don't find out. Like, that was always the move, that was always the thing. When time came that I did finally quit smoking, well, what am I going to do on the weekends now? I mean, the weekends, the boys are still getting together. We're still getting messed up. Like, what's the move? Am I just going to be sitting around not doing anything while everyone else is getting high or drinking or whatever? And I ended up replacing that with alcohol. Granted, I didn't start drinking until I actually turned 21. I was a good boy. And I kept that as a very seldom special occasion type of thing until I quit smoking. In which case, I started drinking every weekend. Most times, several times a weekend, all weekend, whatever. Very much became a strong weekend warrior with the liquor and the boys. Again, something I think that a lot of us can relate to. I think a lot of us in this dark, depressing city of ours know what it's all about to have a couple of drinks on the weekend. That said, that was all fine and good for a good little while there, until one fateful evening. Now, to preface this, I am somebody that the last time that I threw up, I had the flu in 2005. And then this one fateful evening, I'd gotten back from shooting a music video, because I'm a big-time director boy. And, my girlfriend was going to a concert with her brother, and I went to the boy's house, figured, hey, I'm going to have a couple of drinks, whatever. And surprisingly enough, like, I drank. I've had more to drink in one night. I've gone harder, but for whatever reason, the way the liquor hit me that night, I yacked everywhere. I puked all over my buddy's floor. Really bad scene. Passed out on his couch, and he came and tucked me in. Real nice of him. Big shout outs. But after that night happened, I ended up quitting drinking for about a month. Now, this ended up being a terrible time to do it, because I went on vacation a week later down to Tennessee. And if you haven't been to Tennessee, it's like the whiskey capital of the world. If you're going to Tennessee and you're not getting drunk, you're kind of fucking up. And very difficult not to drink. But I managed. I did it. It was very difficult, though. The problem with this, though, was that in order to hold myself accountable, I put the responsibility onto my girlfriend to hold my feet to the fire. I told her the next day after the throwing up incident that I wanted her to hold me accountable. I wanted her to give me shit. I don't know what the consequence was supposed to be, but I told her I wanted her to give me shit if I decided I wanted to start drinking again. The problem with this, in theory, that sounds great. You're putting some responsibility onto somebody else, someone you care about, so you don't want to disappoint them. And I'm sure everyone's heard this before, but you got to do it for yourself. And not that I wasn't, but I was shifting the responsibility onto somebody else. I wasn't holding myself accountable. I was wanting somebody else to do it for me. And in the long run, I went just under a month, and then I was right back on the weekends having a couple drinks with the boys. And now two things ended up happening because of that I think actually in the long run made things worse. Because I had taken that month off, you tell yourself, okay, well, I took a month off. So if I need to quit, if I want to quit, I can. As difficult as it may have been, it was only hard because I was surrounded around it down south. It was circumstantial. Any other situation, it wouldn't be that difficult. Truth be told, alcohol is everywhere. If you're gonna quit, like you can't escape it. It's in every commercial and every billboard. It's everywhere. You're not gonna escape it. So that kind of given me like a false sense of like, oh, okay, I got this under control. And two, after this month off, I had kind of convinced myself that things weren't as bad as it was because I quit getting wasted on the weekends, but I'd still have a couple of beers. I'd still have a couple of drinks. I'd still get moderately messed up, but not so much to the point where I'm puking or that I'm even getting close to puking or whatever else. Even though I wouldn't say I'm some kind of drunk or like even totally addicted to the stuff, because I've seen what alcohol addiction looks like, and I wouldn't even say that I've fully been there. The stuff runs in my family. It runs in my blood pretty deep, so I've always at least been a little wary of that, and knowing what alcohol addiction looks like, the withdrawals and stuff like that. Like I never really got too much of that. But I recently, this is actually a month and a day since the last time I had a drink. And I think what's different this time around is I've had a couple of different realizations. One being that this time around, I'm kind of doing it for myself. I'm not putting, and not that I wasn't doing it for myself last time, but I'm holding myself accountable this time. I'm not telling anybody else to hold my feet to the fire. You know, I didn't tell my girlfriend, oh, you know, make sure I do it. Like, I just did it. I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. I just did it. And not only that, I've noticed that even though I only would drink on the weekends and it was only just a couple of drinks here and there, that I find myself craving it. And now this kind of goes back to my cannabis use when I was younger and the whole weekend thing. I have no problem going the whole week without doing whatever. It's when the weekend comes that I have a hard time not doing something, especially when I'm hanging out with friends, especially when we're chilling. And, you know, that's just kind of the thing. I definitely find it difficult just because of my environment not to have a couple of drinks. But even outside of that, I have noticed, and I think that this is kind of the most telling thing of all. So my girlfriend's brother came over about 2 weeks ago, and he left 2 8% like IPAs in my fridge, and they've just been sitting there. And I've been telling myself, like, you know, he doesn't want them. He's, oh, you can have them. So they've been sitting there, and I've been thinking about it. Like, oh, well, when I decide to drink again, I'll just have those. I'll catch a pretty moderate buzz off of those. I've had probably about 5 dreams now in the last 2.5 weeks that those beers have been in my fridge about drinking those beers. So it's clearly something on my mind. My brain is clearly missing that input of alcohol. And I think this kind of goes into the broader spectrum here, is that even though I was only drinking on the weekends, or whether I'm just smoking weed or I'm just drinking or whatever you're doing on the weekends, whatever you're using to party with, and then you tell yourself isn't an issue, and like, oh, at least I'm not this, at least I'm not that, it doesn't matter, okay? If you're just sort of teetering on this line of like, oh, I'm not really an addict, like I just kind of like to have a couple of drinks, I kind of like to just do a couple of whatever, just a little puff here, whatever, you know, whatever your vice is, like, I think that we often can lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that our problems aren't, or that our vices aren't as big of an issue as they truly might be, because we compare ourselves to the stereotypical this image of what an addict is. And though, like, you know, I'd still get my work done, I still manage to be a productive member of society. So, you know, when you think of someone who has a problem, you think of somebody that's just a waste product, just a, you know, someone that's begging for money so they can support their habits and stuff like that. And it doesn't always look like that. And I think that that's something that needs to be said more surrounding substance abuse and use in general within our society, especially during these lockdowns. I found myself using a lot more on, you know, a Tuesday or a Wednesday because, well, what the hell else is going on? I guess I'll get a bottle of wine and me and the girl will have a couple drinks, or I'll go get a bottle of whiskey and kind of take a couple swigs here and there because whatever, what's going on anyway? You know, instead of using this time of low responsibilities to, like, put in any positive changes or get any positive habits in my life. I'll just drink it away. I'll just do some low effort stuff to give me that dopamine rush that my brain loves so much. And I think that we should all be a little more aware of our vices and the role that they play in our lives. This whole journey of just not drinking for the past month, and I want to keep it going. It's been good, as much as I still want to drink, as much as I know I'm still going to drink again. I don't think I'm never going to have another beer again. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. But I want to separate weekends and getting messed up. I want to be able to get through a weekend and not feel obligated to do anything, whether it's smoking weed or drinking or whatever. I don't want to feel that obligation anymore. And I think that is the bigger issue than whatever substance you're using. I think that this pretense behind certain events and days of the week that, well, if you're not getting messed up, what are you doing? I think that is a very toxic part of our culture, and I think that it is something that normalizes these addictive behaviors in our society and within ourselves. So I really want to try and break that within myself, and I employ other people to do the same. And if your friends don't like it, find some new friends. Thankfully, my friends are pretty understanding of it. And, hey, if I know that they're going to be drinking, I'll stay home and play some Mario Kart or something. Yeah, it might not be as fun, but you know what? I got way more energy during the week. I feel like doing more productive things with my time. Hey, I started doing this. And even if nobody watches, I enjoy doing it. It's nice to get my thoughts out there and just record them and play it back, and getting this newfound confidence in creating content featuring myself instead of just always filming other people, since that's my job. That's what I like doing. But it's nice to be in front of the camera sometimes. And I mean, quitting drinking has given me the motivation and the push to do this. So, I employ everyone who watch this to do similar. Find some positive hobbies and habits. Change up the routine, change the familiar. Do something productive. So thanks for watching. I hope that was informational for some people. I hope that these videos can be a little sparkling light in the otherwise dim world that we currently inhabit. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you share it too. Let's get those subscriber numbers up. Still super appreciative of everyone that went and liked my stuff, subscribed. It means a lot to me. Kind of gave me the little dopamine hit I needed to make this video. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again with my next topic, and I'll see you all later.